Good morning, everyone. We have Coach Payton here for the conference call. Megan, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Patrick, and good morning, Coach. We'll begin with Zach Stevens of DNVR. Go ahead, Zach.
Hey, Coach, thanks for talking with us today. After the game,
Absolutely.
you talked about how there were many free and open wide receivers from the Chargers. What was the cause of that, and how correctable is that moving forward for the defense?
Well, I do think it's correctable, but it's some of it is really basic route principles, underneath coverage, busts. Look, when you play a good quarterback like that, you can't make it easy on them. And so, look, you get into a bunch look and you have a route distribution of a shallow or a vertical. You've got to be able to match that distribution. We didn't do a good enough job several times dropping coverage, and that's something we have to look closely at.
Chris Thomason, the Gazette.
Yeah, hi, Sean. The TV cameras on Thursday caught on your play sheet the words "run it." I'm wondering, how often do you kind of write something like that as a point of emphasis on your play sheet? And after you've looked at the film, how do you feel about how you guys maybe got away a little bit from the run game in the second half?
Yeah, fair enough. I think, number one, I don't like the fact that the network TV cameras feel like they can zoom into our call sheets, but it is what it is. It's just a reminder sometimes. There'll be little notes I'll put at the top of a section. Thought we ran it real well early in the game, first half. Second half, there's two series I kind of kicked myself where even when we did run it, it was the type of run we ran that wasn't as effective. But we had ample opportunities in that second half, and I thought our third down numbers obviously weren't where we wanted them to be. We couldn't get off the field defensively, and therefore we weren't able to keep the lead we had going in at halftime or coming out to start the second half.
Roy Rank, the Denver Post.
Coach, you talk about your team being smart and disciplined a lot since you've gotten here, and we've seen that develop. But the penalties hurt you against the Chargers. How do you play smarter and more disciplined without taking away the aggressiveness you want to see in these kind of games, these high-stake games?
Well, I think we have to look closely at the repeated penalties, and there are a few that are. Look, we talked about it 2 or 3 weeks ago. I mentioned where we were in several areas. Where we're at as a defense with certain penalties, where we're at as an offense with certain penalties. It'd be silly for us not to look closely at that, and we got to do a better job of coaching, and not allowing it.
Mike Cliff.
Yeah, Sean, got the sense from talking to the players in the locker room after the game that there's will be a greater sense of urgency, even maybe feel a little more pressure this week with 2 games to win 1 rather than the 3 games to win 1. Is that a challenge, or is that a good thing if there's a little more pressure as you come down the stretch here?
Mike, there's each week we play, there's always pressure. I guarantee you none of our players said there's going to be more pressure. There's going to be a sense of urgency always. There's a lot of different scenarios. I think the focal point always is on the game you're playing. That's the one thing that you can control. But I look forward to having a good week. We'll have a full week. Today will be much like a Monday. Tomorrow for us and our players will be like a Tuesday, and then we get ready and go to work. So it's the next challenge. There'll be a number of things you learn from this game, and then you move on.
Andrew Mason, the Fan.
Hey, Sean, in some previous weeks, you talked about trying to get Audric Estime the ball more often. So how do you think he did with the work you gave him on Thursday, and has he opened the door to more opportunities going forward?
Yeah, I think he has. I think he played well. I was encouraged with the physicality he ran with. And I think, he'll only get better. So I was encouraged. Even Blake had some carries that were encouraging. So balancing that is going to be important for us here down the stretch.
Parker Gabriel, Denver Post.
Hey, Sean, obviously a lot goes into the outcome of a game, but the 3-and-out you had offensively between their 2 touchdown drives, just like from an offensive standpoint, was it that simple of having an opportunity to maintain control of the game in that spot, or were there other things that you thought, sort of slipped offensively as the second half went along?
No, listen, I think that's a sequence there. That's a great question. You're trying to shift the momentum. So much was made. I thought well, how do I say it? But one of the dumber storylines was the end of the half in regards to us being aggressive with 41 seconds, 2 timeouts. We pumped the ball. The half's over with. I read more stuff that I just looked at and thought, this is garbage. Number one, it didn't shift the momentum. We got the ball back to start the second half, went down the field, kicked a field goal. We were back up 11. But this sequence, this area of the game you're talking about is the area that, as a coach, you look at and you get frustrated just, with, how do we put a break on the momentum that had shifted? And I feel like we could have done a better job there.
Arnie Stapleton, Associated Press.
Hey, Sean. I know everybody's eager to see Riley Moss get back on the field, and I'm wondering if you could speak to the season he's had in his first year as a starter here, and then what sort of tandem he'll bring to the field with PS2 once he is healthy down the stretch and maybe well into January.
Yeah, look, we were and have been super excited. Obviously the guy that plays opposite of Patrick is going to get a lot of business and all throughout training camp, he really rose to the occasion, battled, competed, and throughout really the good portion of the season, he's a big reason why we were playing so well defensively. So the sooner the better when we can get him back in the lineup. Hopefully it can happen this weekend.
Coach, that appears to be all the questions we have for you today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Fantastic. Thank you.